Welcome to Fish Talk Hunt Radio with John Hennigan, where we're going to cast and blast you right out of this world with some of the best hunting and fishing stories that you can't even imagine.
Welcome to Fish Talk Radio. This is John Hennigan and our host, Frank Selby, who is doing a Christmas deed right now. He's in a car, so if the sound doesn't come by perfect, then we apologize for that, but I think he's on a Bluetooth right now. Frank.
Yes.
Happy holidays.
You too.
And apparently you're healthy now. I know you've been in and out of the hospital a few times for different things, but you know you're a tough old bird, and they just can't seem to slow you down.
They can't kill me and keep me dead, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's right. And keep you dead, that's right. A few weeks ago, they had to stop your heart and restart it. But, well, when I grew up, I want to be like you, Frank.
Well, you'll never grow up. You're just like me. You'll always stay young.
Yeah, there is something to that, isn't there? But, well, let's put it this way. You may have to get old, but you don't have to grow up.
That's right.
But
I'm just the opposite. I never want to get old. I've already grown up.
Okay. Well, we only got a couple minutes right now, and we had a great show. Today we're going to be talking about conservation, and everybody has different views on it. I have mine, and sometimes they don't coincide with the real people consider themselves conservationists. But we've got some experts coming on. We're going to have Cindy Nobel, and she's with Trout Unlimited. Tom Raftican, who is the head of the Sports Fishing Conservancy, and Bill Shedd from AFTCO. AFTCO has donated more than $1 million to conservation efforts. So we're going to see what we can learn and find out. And then we might be able to get John Marriott on about soft science. But it's going to
I'd like to have him on. He's always fun to talk to, and he has the best shoes in the world.
That's right. Oh, yeah, we got to talk about that. I got to get some more for you. But anyway.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
We got to go, and we got some great trips. Our Alaska trip this year is July 24 to 28, I think. So keep that in mind. It'll be a great Christmas present for somebody. We're going to be right back with you on on Fish Talk Radio.
The Soft Science footbed absorbs the shock of pounding waves, engine vibration, and even rocky terrain. Soft Science shoes are roomy and relaxed, and they drain and dry quickly. Check out the Soft Science Fin fishing shoes and boots and the Fin H2O for kayaking and canoeing. They're lightweight, slip-resistant, and won't mark your deck. See the new styles for men and women and get your pair on at softscience.com.
It's time for you to take a real fun adventure. Join a hosted fishing adventure to Alaska or Baja with the staff of Fish Talk Radio. Real Fun Adventures can book you on any adventure you desire. Bring your fishing friends or meet new ones. Fish Talk Radio gets the best deals from our sponsors to give you the best possible price. Real Fun trips are inclusive, easy, no-worry packages to the most popular fish grounds. Trips start around $600. Go to REELfunadventures.com.
If you are still using a plastic hard-shell cooler, things have changed for the better. AO coolers are lighter with twice the efficiency of the traditional bulky coolers. AO coolers are the best available soft-sided cooler with 3/4-inch high-density closed-cell foam insulation. They will keep ice frozen for 24 hours in hot weather. Easy to carry, less space, it fits product inside for better performance. Go to aocoolers.com to order or find a retailer. Available at West Marine.
With a long pedigree, the Snow Bee brand today offers the very best equipment modern technology can provide. Started in Europe, Snow Bee is now providing quality fly fishing gear in the USA. Waders, clothing, rods, reels, fly lines, bags, and innovative new accessories. Enjoy your sport and leisure time more than ever. The affordable value of Snow Bee makes it available to everyone. Go to snowbee-usa.com.
Welcome back to Fish Talk Hunt Radio with John Hennigan.
This is John Hennigan. And, of course, we have our host, Frank Selby, on the line with us, who's just pulling up to his house right now. Right now, I think he's on his Bluetooth, but he's going to be joining us. And on the line right now, we have Cindy Nobel. And Cindy is with Trout Unlimited. And, Cindy, maybe first thing we should talk about is you. And Trout Unlimited. Just kind of give us a quick overview of what it is and what you do.
Great. My name's Cindy Nobel. Currently I'm the state council for California, the state council chairperson, which has been a real honor to be elected into this position. And I've been doing stuff at our local level here in Plumas County in Northern California for about 13 years. And again, part of that is attending state meetings and finding out what TU is doing at the state level, in addition to some of the national projects that actually come back down to us at the grassroots level.
Okay. Now, one of the questions that every one of our guests I want to ask them today is that, I firmly believe that the front line in conservation are hunters and anglers, because they understand, sometimes I think they understand more what should be done than elected officials think what they should be done. But that's a different subject. But two questions. How are we doing, and what do we need to do better?
I think TU actually is doing a really good job at some of our science projects across the nation. We're doing a really good job. One of the initiatives that TU has really put a lot of energy into, and now is being very successful with, is this whole diversity piece. I think they started off thinking what they'd like to do is encourage more women to participate in angling and conservation, and what they've really found is it's actually a really much broader discussion than that. It's like really inclusion in a much bigger way, women and families, and again, other cultures. I mean, there are other cultures in this nation that have made huge strides in community efforts, and I think that's one thing that TU has done a great job, is trying to connect with these smaller populations and include them into some of the conservation work that we're doing.
Well, you mentioned women, and from what I understand, the fastest growing segment of the angling community is women.
I think there is some good data. I don't have that right at my fingertips right now, but yeah, I think there's a lot of people. I mean, again, I say really, when you look at this, if the centerpiece is conservation, there are a lot of angles to getting into conservation, and one of the ways is through fishing and hunting. And the thing with the women anglers, I mean, there's some awesome young women that are now really connecting with each other and connecting with wider populations in their communities, making sure that we are making this available. I mean, a lot of people now talk about fishing as a total tool to stress relief, which is amazing.
Yeah, it is. As I said, our logo is the all-natural attitude adjustment.
Exactly. Exactly.
You can't have a line in the water anywhere without being in a beautiful place to be.
Well, and the other thing, it gives you focus on something, and then that satisfaction about. I mean, it's like you say, there's the fishing, and then there's the catching. So the thing is actually to derive a sense of real satisfaction out of just being outdoor in nature. And I think that's something that nowadays we should all be looking at that from the sense of giving people the opportunity to set down their phones and set down their computers and walk away and experience stuff that really can touch them deeply if they go outside into nature.
Well, some people say that baseball, I guess, is American sport. To me, I believe way before baseball was was fishing and hunting, where, you know, it was passed down from father to son or to daughter, and it's you know, it's something inherent, you know, all the way back to, when the people that lived in the United States, what it is now, were hunter-gatherers, and
exactly,
you know, that was, and they had a sense of conservation, and they knew over, you know, thousands of years what worked. And sometimes there's something that you might call unforeseen consequences.
Yep.
But, you know, sometimes when you try and do good, you know, there's an effect that you weren't looking for. But when it comes to fishing, when we talk about conservation, I think we're probably talking about maintaining a healthy stock. Is that right?
Yeah, well, in many ways. I mean, I think that like as you're saying, that sense of connecting with the outdoors, I think that, once again, fishing is a venue into conservation. I read a great article in a local magazine up here, California Fly Fisherman, about a young man who just talks specifically about taking his young children, you know, ages 2 and 3, out fishing as a dad. And he said it was amazing to watch those kids develop into 5- and 7-year-olds that had a sense of what it is to be in nature. And, you know, fishing came much later, but the connection to nature and the water and all the things that were going on in the water was something they could just sit in the sand and talk about.
Well, you know, it reminds me of something. We've done a fair amount of kids' derbies. And you go out on the pier, these kids are bringing up these little herring or whatever they are. It's the first fish they ever caught. And the part of the process, they're supposed to go over and get it measured and put it back in the water. And these kids will have a death grip with both hands on this squiggly thing. And the smile is from ear to ear. And they're so excited. It just seems like a natural thing that, you know, that people enjoy.
Well, that's another one of the programs that Trout Unlimited, I do believe, does a really good job with. Nationwide, in many chapters throughout the nation, we have a program called Trout in the Classroom, and really there's sort of a basic set of tenets that we like the teachers to provide to students, which, you know, begins with the life cycle, and then what they do is raise eggs into fingerlings and then release them into a creek or stream close by the school. But again, this program can just be so much more, and it's just a really amazing thing. I think lots of times now what we are starting to see with kids is anything that we can do that is truthfully hands-on, like you say, even if in the beginning it's a death grip because they just really are not connected. Yeah. But after a while, I mean, it's like when you see kids really connect to a fish that they have just caught and that they realize that it's alive, that is such an amazing feeling for a child.
Well, let's take a step back.
One
Go ahead, Frank.
quick thing. We always have a bunch of the kids from the homes. We go up to, like, East Fork of the San Gabriel, and we clean, and we try to put some habitat back. We do a lot of that, too, and you're not touching on that at all.
Well, all the conservation efforts, I mean, I think that's probably one of the most, common activities that chapters at the grassroots level try to participate in is basically you find and connect your chapter to a stream, a creek, a system, and then get, basically kids and adults to come out and see and talk about where we're starting from, and then what kind of steps that can be taken to improve habitat for fish, moving forward. And some of those are really amazing experiences,
Cindy,
too, because
we're getting close to the end. But the question originally is, how are we doing and what can we do better? But I think you've just answered that, and that is improving the habitat.
Improve the habitat, but also just encourage diversity in our opening our arms to more people getting involved in these activities.
Okay, well, we're going to have to cut you off, but Trout Unlimited, I'm sure you're not hard to find, and there's a chapter near you somewhere.
TU.org is our website, and you can get a lot of information there.
TU.org, that's fantastic. Thank you, Cindy. We appreciate your input.
I appreciate the opportunity. Have a great afternoon.
You betcha. You are listening to Fish Talk Radio, and we'll be right back with you.
Let's go fishing, huh?
The East Cape of Baja, Mexico is world famous for sport fishing. Dorado, tuna, wahoo, marlin, sailfish, roosterfish, and pargo. The Van Wormer resorts make dreams come true at a price all can afford. Hotel Palmas de Cortez, Playa del Sol, and Hotel Punta Colorado have the biggest and best sport fishing fleet in all of Mexico. Call toll-free to 877-777-TUNA to find out how affordable world-class fishing can be. The finest resorts and the best boats in East Cape. Call 877-777-TUNA.
Vagabundos Del Mar Boat and Travel Club has 42 years experience introducing RVers to the joys of Mexico. Specializing in Baja, Vagabundos leads caravans and sponsors fishing tournaments, trailer boat cruises, and weekend getaways in Mexico and the West. Vagabundos Del Mar also saves its 10,000 members tons of money on low-cost auto insurance. Stay up to date on Mexican travel with the printed newsletter online at vagabundos.com or call 800-474-BAJA.
The road stretches for miles in front of you, and with the Ram 1500, you'll be able to reach mile after open mile. It gets a best-in-class 25 miles per gallon highway, so your destination won't just be determined by your gas gauge, but by your gauge for achievement. And the Ram 1500 is the first ever back-to-back Motor Trend Truck of the Year. Guts, glory, Ram. See your local Ram dealer today for great deals. EPA estimated 25 mpg highway based on V6 4x2.
With a long pedigree, the Snow Bee brand today offers the very best equipment modern technology can provide. Started in Europe, Snow Bee is now providing quality fly fishing gear in the USA. Waders, clothing, rods, reels, fly lines, bags, and innovative new accessories. Enjoy your sport and leisure time more than ever. The affordable value of Snow Bee makes it available to everyone. Go to snowbee-usa.com.
Welcome back to Fish Talk Hunt Radio with John Hennigan.
This is John Hennigan, and of course we have our host Frank Selby, and we've got a special guest. He's been on a few times, but not nearly enough. Tom Raftican. Can I tell a quick story?
Let's see.
All right. Well, we're just trying to figure out how long it's been.
We have too many stories going back. Yeah. I wonder which one it is.
Well, it goes back to the very first show that we did. You were the only. I decided to do this fishing show on a local radio station, and I originally was going to find a sponsor and find some talent that somebody would host the show. Didn't have much luck, so I guess we're doing it. So Tom, a friend of mine, was the only person that I knew that has ever had a microphone in front of his face. And Mike Moropoulos, who is the outdoor writer for the local newspaper, the three of us started off, and it was more than 15 years ago, apparently. Yep. And so it's, things have changed a lot. You've gone through a lot of different things. We have changed somewhat. We're from a local station, and now we're on 40 broadcast stations and virtually every digital media that's out there. And we recently got picked up by Sirius XM Radio. So, and you were with You went into with United Anglers of Southern California. You headed that for a while, doing different things, and then you went off and I guess started. Is that way to put it? The Sport Fishing Conservancy.
Yes, we run the Sport Fishing Conservancy, and we basically work with the recreational fishing community, and it's kind of like getting that middle ground between make sure that fishermen get out there and have a good idea of what to do, and then also that we maintain a presence in Sacramento. And around the country, for that matter, looking to ensure that there's good policy coming forward for recreational fishing.
Oh, things have changed a lot in the last 15 years. We're starting to see some of the results of some of the things that were put in place many years ago, and I'm sure you're aware. The thing that excites me that they've opened up the rockfish, or actually the red snapper variety, that used to be huge, and it got to the point where they had to just shut it down about 15, 20 years ago.
And this is happening here because we put good management in place. And the other thing in the United States, which, sometimes there's a problem outside the borders of the United States, with the United States, we usually have fairly good enforcement. But when you enforce good fisheries management, good things happen. With all of these things, they're very complex problems. You've got ocean regimes that change along with the management practices. But the United States has done has played a world-leading role in good fisheries management. There are a couple places in Europe that kind of keep up, and we go back and forth on that. But we've done a good job. California, we've done a good job in exactly what you're saying about rockfish coming back of age. You now fish to, I think, 75 fathoms offshore. And the reason is because the protections were put in place, and these populations are coming back actually a lot faster than they anticipated.
Well, there's some things, especially rockfish, that grow very, very slow. Like a Dorado can go from an egg to 20 pounds in 2 years.
Yep.
But, when you're talking about rockfish, you just to be legal size, they've got to be, 7, 8 years old?
Don't trust me on the years of rockfish. They're very, very long-lived.
Yeah, they grow very slow.
It takes a long time until they get to the productive stage. But the thing is, they kick out tremendous year classes to kind of make up for that. So that's kind of come along. But, the other thing is, take a look out there now. We've got some awesome tuna fishing going on offshore. I mean, some of the largest tuna caught here in half a century. And a lot of that reason is also, having the United States out there pushing for good management around the world. Not everybody pays attention to this. There's some bad actors in Asia, but by and large, we've done a good job on it because of that management.
Excellent
We're
job.
catching giant tuna offshore here now.
Well, the difference, obviously, is pelagic fish, the ones that swim great distances, they may go...
Highly migratory.
They might go thousands of miles. So... if one area is taking all they can get, then, that depletes the stock.
Yeah, well, look at our tuna right off our shore in California right now. I have never seen people catching tuna for 21 months straight.
Wow.
It's amazing. Thanks, Frank.
I'm in shock.
It really is wide open out there. And these are not necessarily all small fish either. Jenny Armstrong worked with us for years, premier female angler, and her husband and family, on their private boat brought in a bluefin, and I know it was over 200 pounds. I don't know what the final total was, but we're talking massive fish for, small, 20, 30-foot skiffs out of California. So,
I got one question to ask you. Do you still have your presence in all the shows, like the hall shows, the sportsman shows? Do you still come down and do that?
I haven't done that with the hall show in about 2 years.
Yeah.
they've gone through some changes in management. I'll probably try and get back and talk to some folks over there. They're interesting shows. And Bart does a good job there. Oh. And the same thing, Duncan McIntosh took it over. And Duncan has done boat shows forever and has done a really, really good job with it. So the thing is, I don't run a membership organization. We work with the fishing community. We sit down, we talk to fishing clubs, we go around, we get out. It doesn't always, that isn't always the best venue for doing something like that. So,
yeah.
Does that answer your question, Frank?
Yeah, pretty much. But I think the shows gives a lot of people knowledge that they don't have unless you're there telling a little bit about exactly how we're doing everything. And the more we get out there, the better our fishing gets.
Well, Tom,
with responsible fit people.
Tom, if you don't mind, I'm trying to, every person we talk to is, how are we doing and what can we do better? And that's what we're looking at. You've talked about some of the successes that we've had, and how can we do better? Also, Tom, your Sport Fishing Conservancy is your main, but we had wildlife that we have to pay attention to also. So,
sure.
I'm not sure if there's a question in there or not, but
well,
I think how can we do
where
better?
Where you're going is how do we do better? And I think first of all, a big part of this is teaching the kids. And, we do the no motor fishing tournament. We've had, almost half the people that signed up for the no motor this year were kids. We had Marco Farrell. Marco's probably been on the show, but Marco actually he picked up the cost of all the kids getting in there, so it was really a good deal. We do a lot of this stuff with kids fishing. We work with the Hispanic Access Foundation this past summer to get kids out. We're putting together a program, with the folks on the East Coast, Anglers for Conservation. And, this is not only about getting kids out fishing, it's getting them engaged in the sport, so that they understand not just fishing and taking fish, but conservation's a big part of this. And I think there's a national program on right now that's doing a tremendous job, and this is the R3 program through the National Fish and Wildlife Service. And R3, recruit, retain, reactivate. This is about increasing current participation in outdoor sports. This is both hunting and fishing. So, yes, there are efforts out there to try and get some of this stuff turned around. And what we really try to do is make sure that recreational fishermen are known for the good deeds that they do. Oftentimes we get painted with a bad brush, but the thing is, by and large, recreational fishermen do a really good job and are conservation-oriented.
Well, Tom, one thing that we didn't mention, in Trout Unlimited, they talked about habitat, for cleaning the streams and making sure that they have healthy stocks. What about habitat in the ocean?
Well, habitat in the ocean is extremely important. I mean, you take a look at off of Southern California. If you look at the Southern California Bight, it's well over 90% soft strata. What that means is the bottom is either mud or sand, and that's not very productive habitat. So there are opportunities for enhanced habitat, artificial reefs that go in. I spent some time testifying last summer. There's a reef going in off of Palos Verdes, and we actually got this through the State Lands Commission with a unanimous vote on the commission. And it was done by the Montrose Settlement. Montrose Chemical Company did some bad stuff going back about 30 years ago. But there's an opportunity to put something in, and we're getting state support on these things. We worked with the Rigs to Reefs program for a long, long time. And there is legislation that allows the conversion of our offshore platforms to artificial reefs. Some of that may be coming up in the not-too-distant future with what's going on in Platform Holly off of Santa Barbara. So, we're engaged in a lot of this stuff, but it doesn't always make the front. The stuff that I end up doing is usually the boring stuff in the background.
Well,
we're there.
I think off Florida and the Gulf, there's places that they're actually sinking ships to create habitat.
Well, they've done that actually off Coronado. I'm trying to think of the organization that did it, but the Yukon was there, and that was actually how they got it done so fairly quickly. It was done within the jurisdiction of the city of San Diego, and it's now a premier dive destination.
There you go. Okay, well, I think that answers that. Is where we're coming, but we are making progress. Tom, we're just about out of time right now, and if somebody's interested in the Sport Fishing Conservancy, what's the website?
sportfishingconservancy.org.
Okay, that sounds pretty easy. And keep up the good work.
One in a row.
All right, we appreciate it. We'll have you on more often, Tom. You're doing a great job. Appreciate that.
Take care, guys.
You are listening to Fish Hunt Talk Radio, and go to our website. Listen to the show as many times as you want. We'll be right back with you.
Drop them down, let them go. Jigging them up. Yeah, jigging them up. Line them up, everybody. Time to head back to the barn. You too, Murphy.
A few years ago, a sailor set out to design a boat shoe that was comfortable and stable, non-skid, and wouldn't mark the decks. Today, these incredibly comfortable shoes are worn by anglers, boaters, professional guides, and charter captains. Go to softscience.com to see more. Soft Science shoes and boots are lightweight and shock absorbent with just the right level of support. Several styles come in all sizes. Enjoy the Soft Science shoe in the water and out. Check them out at softscience.com.
It's time for you to take a real fun adventure. Join a hosted fishing adventure to Alaska or Baja with the staff of Fish Talk Radio. Real Fun Adventures can book you on any adventure you desire. Bring your fishing friends or meet new ones. Fish Talk Radio gets the best deals from our sponsors to give you the best possible price. Real Fun trips are inclusive, easy, no-worry packages to the most popular fish grounds. Trips start around $600. Go to REELFunadventures.com.
Alaskan RV Butler. Guiding, fishing, hiking, sightseeing, adventure. The Alaskan RV Butler. Like a cruise on wheels in the comfort of an RV, view the wonders of Alaskan interior, streams, ocean, and wildlife. Or fish for the big one, all while pampered by Mike, the Alaskan RV Butler. Mike's inclusive tours serve butter-drenched shellfish and mouth-watering steaks. Mike is your personal chef, chauffeur, guide, and planner. And for the real Alaska, contact MikeRVButler at gmail.com. That's MikeRVButler at gmail.com.
Welcome back to Fish Talk Hunt Radio with John Hennigan.
This is John Hennigan, and also our host Frank Selby, who's the consummate fly angler, guide, owns a fly fishing shop along with his beautiful wife, and we really appreciate having Frank helping us out on Fish Hunt Talk Radio. We have the rare opportunity to talk to one of the most well-known people in the fishing industry, and that is Bill Shedd, who has a family history in ocean fisheries primarily that we'd like him to mention real quick. And then we've got Well, just to tell you a little bit, AFTCO is American Fishing Tackle Company that started, 50, 60 years ago, Bill?
Yeah, 1958.
Whoa, that's more than that, at least, yeah. Anyway, his dad, of course, we'll talk about for a minute, but the AFTCO does not make fishing rods. The reason they don't make fishing rods is they make the world's finest parts for fishing rods, and they don't want to try and compete with their, the people that they sell to. But I'll tell you what, an easy way to check the quality, if you're not familiar with the rod and you're in a store, especially the easy one, is roller guides. So if you've got a trolling rod and you look at the very top roller, and if it says AFTCO on it, you know that company is using the best possible equipment, which means that it's probably a quality rod. And that's the simplest way I know to tell the difference if you don't know any other way.
Well, that's a great explanation. Thank you. It's we've long been big on quality in this company, and not always the least expensive, but certainly focused on being the best.
Mm-hmm. And just to give a little bit of history, just a couple of things about your dad that started it, and then I want to talk about some of the things that you do to enhance our, especially ocean water the habitat.
Well, thank you. Yeah, our family's been involved around ocean issues and ocean businesses for a long time. My dad was the co-founder of SeaWorld. He and his partner started the first SeaWorld in San Diego in 1964. That really came in large part just out of his love for the ocean and interest in the ocean. And he and my mother bought AFTCO in 1974. The business was started by a man by the name of J.C. Axelson. That was a small little tackle business, and we've grown it significantly since then, and gone from making just roller guides to a full range of parts, the handles,
the butts,
reel seats, the butts for big game fishing rods, and harnesses and gaffs and outrigger clips and bait nets, and a full range of complement items that the serious big game fishermen would use.
Well, the other thing, when you talk about quality, over the years, through your generosity, I've been able to pick up a couple of Guy Harvey shirts. And the difference in quality between those, they're not cheap, but they're not overpriced.
No, Guy Harvey is known to the fishing world by just about everybody. He's the world's best marine fish artist, and has a very popular line that we're proud to be able to produce for him with T-shirts and clothing items that are known all over the country by fishermen and just ocean lovers generally, primarily in the southeast of the United States, but all over the coastal states as well.
By the way, I think I'm wearing a pair of your pants right now.
Great.
And I love them because you can wear them in any weather, and they're comfortable, and, I throw them on the floor and pick them up a couple of days later and put them back on, and they're not wrinkled.
Perfect. That's what we started in making clothing in 1989, and the first item we made was a pair of fishing shorts.
Oh.
It's still to this day one of our most popular items.
Oh, well, for good reason. And the shirts, of course, Guy Harvey, with his paintings or artwork on them, they stand out. So, I have a place down at Cabo San Lucas, and you walk, down by the marina, and from a distance, you can spot one of his shirts.
Well, he's the best. There's no doubt. There's no doubt about it.
Mm-hmm. But anyway, let's talk about, our main conversation. And I'd like to point out, because I know you're, probably not the kind of person that would expound on it, but your company, your family, I believe, has given more than $1 million to the conservation effort, and this is just, you give a sizable percentage of your profits into that. So could you give us an idea about what it is that you support?
Well, sure. We long have taken over 10% of our profits every year for 30, 40 years and put them back into marine conservation efforts. Have been big supporters of the IGFA, of the CCA, of the American Sport Fishing Association, the ASA, spend lots of time. I've spent 500 hours a year for the last 30 years on marine resource conservation and fishing industry issues to do things like recently we were able to work with a number of other partners and get legislation passed that's going to eliminate the use of the drift gill nets here in California waters. Just one recent example.
Well, Bill, this is a personal opinion, and Frank, I'm sure you can jump in, that overfishing a particular place, usually because that's where, if there's a place that's easy to reach, those are the ones that get hit pretty hard. But the question that I'm trying to get everybody to answer is, how are we doing as far as maintaining healthy stocks, and what do we need to do better?
Well, on inshore fisheries around the country, we've actually made huge progress in the last 15 years on bringing back depleted resources. I mean, just you look in Southern California, and you've got a much better chance to catch a white sea bass today than you did 20 years ago. In the Gulf Coast, they've brought back through conservation measures, they've brought back the redfish. In the East Coast, they brought back the striped bass, and there's just numerous examples around the country of inshore game fish where, through better management, not through big, huge closed fishing areas, but through better management practices, size limits, season limits, just responsible fishing activities and catch and release, have brought back the inshore game fish all around this country.
Well, and I might say something that I'm sure Frank will agree with, is that if you're a farmer, you want to operate in the most successful way possible to produce the most yield and make the most money. And, if you're a fisherman, obviously you're going to try and do what works best. Problem is, sometimes it works too well, especially, in the last 30 years or so with what things have been able to do. Personally, I don't believe that somebody with a hook and line has much of an effect on depleting our species. What's your thoughts on that?
I'd agree with you. You really have a hard time finding an example where an angler or a group of anglers with a single hook and line have caused major resource problems with the fisheries, but I can give you all kinds of examples where commercial gear types of fishing, of certain gear. It's not that commercial fishermen is bad, it's there's certain types of gear that are bad. Gill nets, for example, long lines, bottom trawls. These are ways of taking fish out of the sea that either are too indiscriminate or take too many fish. Back to the example of your farmer, that farmer probably has a pond out on his lake, and if he wants to go catch a few bass, it would be very effective if he threw dynamite in there. He'd catch a lot of bass. But that's not the way to harvest the bass all at once and indiscriminately like that. So just as in the ocean, we just need to be careful of how we're removing the fish from the ocean. What is the most not only efficient and effective, but the most environmentally friendly and resource-minded way to do it.
Well, the other part of the question is, how are we doing and how can we do better? What are your thoughts on what's possible that we could be doing better at?
Well, lots of things are possible. For example, there's around the country we've begun to develop saltwater fish hatcheries. They've had a lot of success in the Gulf, helping to bring back the redfish. We've got a program here in California with white sea bass, a hatchery program with white sea bass, and now we're looking at also adding a possibility of adding hopefully halibut to that program as well. But you ask, what can the typical angler do to help with a resource? Really, it's support one of those, many of them, support one of the organizations that's near you that's involved in some of these resource and conservation issues. Okay.
Frank, we're getting close on time again, but why don't you just take a minute or so with Bill?
Well, I really watched the white sea bass program really hard when Packy started that years ago, better known as the chewing gum guy.
Packy Outfield was a great supporter of that program, yes, sir.
Yeah, I miss him a lot. Anyway, what I was going to say, actually, I think in 2018, we have more white sea bass back in our local waters than we did in 1960. They're not quite as big as they were then, but our fish population of white sea bass has really quadrupled.
So it sounds like we're going to have to cut it off because we're about out of time, unfortunately. I'd like to spend the whole hour with Bill. But, just to give a little bit of a plug, you normally don't sell direct to the public, but if someone wants to do their own rods and reels, they can get that from you?
Well, the clothing we do sell online. You can go to aftco.com, aftco.com. You can buy our whole clothing line online.
And it's good stuff.
The guides and the tackle items are shown online, but those products would all be bought by your local saltwater tackle.
Well, we got to go. If anybody wants to buy me a Christmas present, go there. Anyway, Bill, thank you. We got to go. You're listening to Fish on Talk Radio. Go to our website.
Come on, fishing.
The soft science footbed absorbs the shock of pounding waves, engine vibration, and even rocky terrain. Soft science shoes are roomy and relaxed, and they drain and dry quickly. Check out the Soft Science Fin fishing shoes and boots and the Fin H2O for kayaking and canoeing. They're lightweight, slip-resistant, and won't mark your deck. See the new styles for men and women and get your pair on at softscience.com. Used by fishermen who know where to get the best fishing gear around, AFTCO makes the highest quality fishing rod components worldwide. If it says AFTCO, you know you have a quality rod. Guy Harvey Clothing, the best outdoor clothing line anywhere, is also available through AFTCO. Longest lasting, functional, and best looking clothing you'll be proud to wear. Only the very best materials and workmanship. As soon as you put it on, you'll know the difference. Look for AFTCO at quality retailers or go to aftco.com. Great news! You can now watch Grizz's shows wherever you are, whenever you want, on all your mobile devices. Download the Grizz Channel app today. Enjoy an adventure during that boring wait at the doctor's office. Or while you're sitting at the airport waiting for your next flight. Just go to your phone, tablet, or even Kindle App Store or iTunes and download it today. And when you get home, you can watch the Grizz on your big screen on Roku. Catch the Grizz next adventure today.
Welcome back to Fish Talk Hunt Radio with John Hennigan.
This is John Hennigan, and of course we have our host Frank Selby on the line with us. And we've got another special guest today that's, Christmas is, by the time you hear it, it may already be over, depending on, how you tune in or when you tune in or what station you're listening to. But even though it's last minute, might have some ideas for you. We have John Marriott with Soft Science Shoes. Now, I don't consider them shoes. I consider them a piece of equipment. And, whether you're fishing or hiking or whatever it is you're doing, you want the best equipment because it all starts with the feet and goes up from there, right, John?
Absolutely. I think, we've got what I consider to be the kind of the pinnacle of performance comfort footwear. You're not going to find something that offers better slip resistance, better stability, and comfort all in one package that you can actually afford.
Well, the other thing is, I probably shouldn't say this. People think, what? But it's not uncommon for me to wear the same shoes every day for a week, 10 days or more. I don't wear socks. My feet don't stink, and you just put them on, and they just feel good, and it lasts all day. Where normally it's like you go to the last time I was down at the Hall Show last year, you had some down there, and if you get somebody to they've been walking the shows for a couple hours and their feet hurt, and you get them to put a pair of Soft Science on, and everyone that put them on bought them.
Yeah, that's we've at boat shows before had a trash can in the display because so many people came into our booth, tried on our shoes, and wanted to wear them out of our booth and just wear them for the rest of the show, and they were throwing out whatever it was
that they walked in with. That's great.
You did that at the last show I was at. You sold out of my favorite pair was the little lace-up deck shoes.
Oh, by the way, Frank he's got a special Christmas request. He is a consummate angler, fly fisherman, and he needs a pair of wading boots.
The Terrafin is exactly what you're looking for. Our lace-up fly fishing boot is perfect.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, also you've got those neoprene ones that zip up. I like those because I don't like laces, especially boots where you got so many. But they are extremely comfortable. And a lot of times you put a shoe on and you go, oh, this feels pretty good. But after a couple of months, they don't. Where yours, I've got some that are over a year old, and you put them on and they feel just as good as they did when they were brand new.
Yeah, I wash mine about every 2 weeks.
The Trillion that is the composite that is part of the insole and the outsole really doesn't have memory to it. So, if you wear them around, a lot of other materials will compress over time and, kind of take the shape of your foot. And once that happens, you don't get the same cushioning. But, once you take your Soft Science shoes off, the Trillion expands back to its original shape. So every time you put them on, you get the same cushioning.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, John, we're going to have to let you go, but let's mention that it is close, but there's still time to get some gift certificates that you can, get online and to give those away. Or if somebody gave you something to buy for yourself for Christmas, go to the website, which is
SoftScience.com.
That's an easy one, SoftScience.com. Take a look what they got. You got some new stuff coming out, and I got to talk to you about trying some of that out so I can know more about it. We appreciate that.
Yeah, you bet.
Okay. Thank you very much, John. And Frank Selby, thank you so much for helping us out today. As usual, you did a fantastic job.
Yeah, well, I was a little short on time today, but I tried.
Okay. Go to fishhunttalkradio.com. Listen to the show as many times as you want.